award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. I'm Jason Harmon. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Got a great show for you today. It's all about turkeys. Turkey season has passed, but we're going to recap and see what all went on and how much fun was had and how many birds were harvested and all kinds of good stuff. Don King is helping me co-host today.
Yeah, Jason. Hey, I'm liking the hat.
Yeah,
like you got that navy on today.
I'm sporting the new Tennessee Wildlife hat that anybody can purchase at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.
I left mine at home today. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
It is a nice, comfortable hat too.
Good fitting hat, great for the summer, great for any time really. And I've seen a lot of them out there on the water.
Yeah,
even the brown one. I've seen a picture on social media of a guy wearing one. Fishing.
Good. Yeah.
So folks are buying them. They're enjoying them. So that's great.
That's good. And Cindy's sending them out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a small team.
Yeah,
getting those out. So
it is.
Cindy does great work. But
I see those big baskets, in the mailroom lined up with what is that? That's the hats going out. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're popular. I think we sold every brown hat they had in the United States, so we went to blue. Navy.
Sold out.
I think Navy's a popular color. I think people are liking it. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's don't forget Roger. Roger's here. Roger Shields.
Bring him in, Jason.
He's our turkey program coordinator, and he's going to talk turkey with us today. So glad you're here.
Thanks for having me again.
Welcome back, Roger.
Sure, I'm glad to be here.
How have you been dealing with the pandemic? We are social distancing, by the way. If you're listening on the radio or podcast, we are keeping our distance in the studio here.
Yes.
And but how have you managed to get through this time and work and that kind of thing? You've been working from home, I guess, like most of us.
Yeah. Basically, for the last 3 months, I've been working in my daughter's old room. She's off in college now, so I've taken her space as my office, I guess, and just working there, spending a lot of time on Zoom meetings and, virtually talking to everybody, but able to basically get along, and our family's doing good. Everybody's healthy and well.
That's great.
Yeah. I think my son enjoyed the fact that he got out of school like 2 months before they were supposed to. I don't think I heard a complaint from him about that.
How old is he again?
He just turned 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I bet that's great. I mean, my kids are 6 and 8, and they love being out, but I'm sure as you get older, it's even better,
Until you graduate. I felt bad for the seniors this year,
Yeah, that was true.
They kind of didn't get the closure of all those years of school and, getting to walk across the stage and get that diploma and all that.
And a prom and all that goes on with the senior year.
All those things. That was tough, but... Anyway.
Well, glad the family's healthy.
Yeah.
And I think everybody here in studio today, I think we've all been lucky enough to avoid the virus and whatnot. So that's good. We mentioned we have been working from home. Let's chat a little bit about the field staff. You talked about the coordinators for the programs are been working from home, but the field staff were still hard at it, but they had to adjust a little bit. You mentioned that before we started the show.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, they were able to still get out and do their normal day-to-day, planting food plots and just doing what they do. Probably had to adjust their approach a little bit, because of social distancing, where maybe they would have ridden together in a truck out there. They have to drive separately or something. But, as far as I know, we're business as usual, so to speak. Not totally as usual, but at least the work's getting done. Let me put it that way.
Yeah,
right.
And, we went through our what we call season setting, where we're setting all the regulations and season dates and everything for next year and actually next 2 years for hunting season. And that was interesting for everybody, trying to do that, through Zoom meetings and WebEx and all these different ways. So, but we got through it.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Good deal. Yeah, and that and that 2 year cycle too. That we've changed that, or the commission changed that a little while back. That that wildlife gets a 2 year season setting, and then fish following that. So
so this year was wildlife. I guess next year's fisheries, and then it'll be back to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, today's all about turkeys. We want to highlight the 2020 spring season and talk about harvest and that kind of thing, and some of the other changes that are going to be coming along in the future.
Hey, it was pretty obvious that a lot of people had a lot more time to go turkey hunting this spring. I
think
guess
so.
Because of what we've been talking about here.
Yeah, numbers are up and license sales are up, and we're going to hit on all that today. So, but first, do you want to tell a hunting story? You said you made it out into the woods this year.
Oh, sure.
And had some success. I did not, so I don't have much of a story.
Oh, okay.
But I think the folks at home would love to hear a turkey hunting story.
Yeah, I guess divine providence maybe shined on me this year. I don't know, because I'd scouted out a few areas. I was just hunting this public area close to where we live, Percy Priest, and
just public area. It's hard for people to kill birds on public land. Just some public land.
But I scouted out, like I had 3 different spots that I was going to go to, and I thought, well, I better get up early. This is my first year hunting here in Tennessee too, so I didn't know quite what to expect.
Right.
So I better get out there early. So I thought I was early, but I went to my first spot, and there was already somebody there, and I won't want to get in on him. So I drove to my second spot, and somebody was there. So I drove to my third spot, and I'm starting to get nervous now. Somebody was there, and I was like, now what do I do? So I was driving on down the road trying to think about where can I go now, and then I had the little map up on the GPS, and I saw, well, there's another spot up ahead. Let me just, I'll turn around there. And I went to turn around, and nobody was there. And I said, well, this is where I'm going to be today.
All right.
This is opening day. Wasn't successful then, but I came back. That was Saturday. I came back Good Friday. So it was a week later on Good Friday. And because I came back because on that opening day, as I was walking in, still like good 45 minutes before daylight, I hear a bird gobble, and why he was gobbling that early, is only, like I said, divine providence. God was like, this is the area, son. This is where you want to be. So, yeah, I came back and heard bird that opening day. Just he got hen distracted him, and so he didn't come into me. But so I came back that Good Friday and stumbled it in the dark and got set up in a good spot. Actually ended up coming in right underneath where some hens were roosted, and I spooked one, and she flew off, but the other, I guess there were about 2 or 3 other ones, they stayed, which worked out to my advantage, I think, because the one I think that flew off had circled around and was kind of coming in, and anyway, two longbeards came up, and they got within range, and I was able to get one.
Rest is history.
Right.
Yeah.
First Tennessee bird?
It is.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good deal.
So I got his tail fan and everything all ready to go, get put up somewhere. I don't know where.
I guess your last one was in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, speaking of the tail fan, if you haven't seen our Drop the Tailgate episodes on Facebook and YouTube, Matt Cameron, our regional communication coordinator, has been putting together some great Drop the Tailgate segments. One was how to mount a turkey tail fan. So that is a cool episode. Go check it out on YouTube or Facebook, and go check those out. He does a great job with those, and they're fun to watch. So, all right. Well, congratulations on your bird.
Thanks.
Well, let's jump into some of the numbers. We saw an increase in the turkey harvest this year, and let's just start.
Just a little bit of an increase.
Yeah. I guess I'm kind of playing it down here. It was a pretty good increase. So, tell us what the numbers look like, and kind of where we think and why we think these numbers went up, and we'll start there.
Yeah. So, we topped 40,000 birds this year in harvest, which is, last 2019 it was 31,000 and some change. So that's a pretty significant increase, about 27% over the 5-year average. And so we were up, and it was a crazy year. I mean, like I said, there were a lot of people out hunting, and that's good. And we want people to hunt. So, but when you put more people out in the field and give them more days, like you were saying, we not only was there more hunters, but they didn't have anything else to do. Right. A lot of them were not at work, during the week. So where normally you might have real heavy weekends, now you got weekends and weekday pressure. So harvest was up. I think just people are out there more, and eventually someone like me even can get a bird. So it just happens. And so we saw an increase. But, in the long-term, big picture, I know some people were worried about how this year of harvest might impact the populations long term. And I don't think there's going to be a big, huge impact long term from it. You know, you're never going to harvest all of the birds out there on the landscape. And so if we get a few birds, a few males that are still around, and there are, and we don't harvest the hens, so the hens are still there. So there will be breeding that goes on, and so especially if we can leave them alone long enough to let them get their breeding done, then everything will be all right. Now, for the next few years, next 2 or 3 years, I'm sure we're going to see some decrease in harvest because there are fewer adult birds out there on the landscape now. But provided we have decent reproduction and survival is usually pretty good for the gobblers, so I think we'll bounce back pretty quick.
And maybe some of those folks that got out for the first time or maybe were re-energized and got out there again, they'll stick with it and come back next year and hunt as well. But I'd say that number will be probably a little bit lower. Not as many people out next year, maybe.
Well, and hopefully we won't have COVID-19 going on next year. And I don't mean that I mean that in a good way, but at the same time, it means folks maybe won't have as much time on their hands, but so that'll all balance out. But this year we were seeing, you're talking before too about just more people out there in the field, and that leads to more people being successful. We saw about just under 7,000 hunters harvest a bird or report harvesting a bird who haven't reported one in like 10 years. So either that means they were just really, like me, terrible hunters, or they maybe hadn't been hunting in 5, 6, 7, 8 years and decided to go out and try it this year. And so that was pretty cool. I mean, that's about 3,000 more than what we normally see. Roughly about 4,000 hunters are harvesting or reporting a bird they hadn't reported one in
And would some
years.
of those, might some of those be first timers too? That
It could be,
never hunted or bought a license before too.
Yeah,
so.
I just looked back from that year back 10 years. So it could have been they'd never hunted before, or it could have just been they didn't hunt for the past 10 years. Or
Right.
hadn't been successful in the past 10 years. So, yeah, but that was kind of neat, just how many people were out there. And we know license sales were up too. So, just good opportunity for people to get out and
That's good.
experience something maybe that they hadn't for a long time.
Definitely. We've thrown a graph on the screen. This was presented at the last commission meeting. So if you've watched that or got a chance to be there for that, you've seen this. But explain what we're looking at here, and if you're listening on the radio, go tune in sometime.
It's the reported harvest from the spring season going back to 2006, and just each year's harvest. And you can see that in 2006, 2010 were our previous kind of peak years, especially 2010, and it just kind of bumps right along, stays pretty level, really, in terms of harvest. And 2018 was down. I understand, I wasn't here, but I understand that the opening weekend was really cold and rainy, so that may have impacted some of the harvest. We know that weather can impact how successful hunters are, or how many hunters even go out, and that opening weekend's always the big push for hunters and harvest. So, but numbers were down in 2018. They kind of rebounded a little bit in 2019, and then this year it's way up. But I'm sure it's largely due to just the fact that we had a lot of hunters out there on more than normal. Now, this was the first year of the new requirement, tag before you drag, that required either physically tagging the bird or the animal before you move it, or electronically reporting it on your phone before you move it. And so some of that could have been just a little bit improved
more
reporting
documentation.
rate.
Yeah.
And then populations may have actually been growing a little bit. We know things were down a little bit in 2018. Maybe some of these populations have been growing as well. So there's some confounding things that all put together probably led to the increase we see.
Yeah, folks say they're worried about turkeys in certain areas and they're not seeing as many and that kind of thing. And if you look at this graph, I know this is just harvest. It's not the number of birds on the landscape, but that line is almost flat. I mean, it's amazing that the numbers are right there in between 30 to 40,000, and floating closer to 30. And that's it looks like we're doing okay if you look at that graph, in my opinion. But
right. And we've talked about this before. From a statewide perspective, we don't see a real strong trend one way or the other. Now, if you start breaking it down by regions, Region 2 has been seeing a decline. Region 1 has been seeing a decline. 3 and 4 were more stable and just flat. So, yeah.
Yeah, I see eyebrows raised, though, whenever that line deviates a little bit more one year than in others.
Yeah.
Like 2018, I remember at the commission meeting at 2018, there was big concern over, wow, harvest numbers are down, and and then conversely, this year, wow, I'm worried the harvest numbers are up.
Well, I think that's why it's important too to look at the long-term trends
Right.
rather than just one year to the next, because
Exactly.
so many things can affect harvest. Especially when you just look at reported harvest. Weather, we talked about that. All of a sudden, I've blanked out on other things that affect it. But
something I saw recently was the note that you guys sent out socially, I guess, about mowing. Your mowing schedule, how that can affect. It'd probably be affecting turkey.
Well, I was just going to say, annual reproduction. If you have a really good year of reproduction, then 2 years later, you're likely to see a bump in your harvest because all those birds are now 2-year-olds, right?
Right.
Conversely, if you have poor reproduction, then 2 years later, you're likely to see a decrease. So reproduction can affect things, and weather and just how many hunters are in the field will affect things. And so year-to-year variation is, it's good to watch it, but really you're trying to look at that trend at 5 to 10 year and just kind of watch what's going on, because those anomaly years, if you look at like the 5-year average, I reported that, those anomaly years will kind of get factored out when you look at a 5-year average. So you're not comparing just 1 year to, something that was weird 1 year, but kind of taking them all together. So, yeah. Anyway.
And, talking about the mowing thing, this is a critical time of year where you watch those nests, and when you're out mowing hay and things like that, to not disturb those, and that could change your numbers a little bit, couldn't it? I mean,
well, yeah. If a lot of nests are unsuccessful, then it all trickles down. So if a farmer or a landowner is able to, delay, whether they're bush hogging or whatever they're doing, if they can delay that until late June, July, that's certainly better for ground nesting birds and even fawns and things that are out there. Keep from either killing the hen or the poults or destroying the nest or whatever. So I understand, though, some folks can't. They got to get their hay in, and that's the way it is.
Sometimes there's only that little window,
Yeah.
If it's going to rain, they got to get it mowed, get it raked, get it dried out. So,
yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the changes that are going to be coming down the pike for this next season.
Yeah.
Commission meeting, they discussed it and passed a few changes. So let's learn what those are. I'm sure folks are interested.
Well, I'll break it down. There was a statewide change that'll affect pretty much everybody, and then there were some limited rule changes kind of affect just a few counties and a few areas of the state. But the big one that will affect everybody is the commission approved a bag limit reduction for the spring season. So previously we had a season limit of 4. They dropped that to 3. And that's just, that'll protect a few more of the birds, allow them to go into the next year, and probably improve a little bit the hunter satisfaction and be that in the long run. So that was kind of the statewide change. There were some changes that pertain to 2 different areas of the state that we're talking about Region 1 and Region 2 that we've been seeing decline. And so in Region 1, up against the Mississippi River, those counties that join the river, so we're talking Lake, Dyer, Lauderdale, Tipton, Shelby counties, those set of counties will have a delay in the season start for 2 weeks, and then their bag limit is actually going to drop down to 2. So they're kind of getting both things. There's 4 counties in southern Middle Tennessee, Wayne, Giles, Lawrence, and Lincoln, that will have a 2-week delay in the season start. So those 2-week delays are both for the youth season and the general season, the regular. So 2-week delay in the start, same. They'll finish the same as the statewide. And part of the reason why we're doing that is, again, just feel like if we can protect the breeding and remove the interference and the removal of gobblers that takes place early in that breeding season before the hens have had a chance to start nesting and incubating, if we can remove that or delay it until after the majority of the hens have started nesting, that'll improve reproductive success. Neat thing about this, and I'm so excited to be able to really look at this, is we've got this, the research project going on in southern Middle Tennessee.
Right.
We're in our 4th year now of that project. We've got, after this year, we'll have 1 more year of data collection. So we have got a lot of data already collected on reproductive rates and survival of nests, survival of poults, and all this data that the students have been collecting. And now we'll have the rule change, and we'll be able to actually monitor and measure what kind of effect the 2-week delay has on nesting rate, clutch size, nest success, and all of that. So we're hopeful that we can get another year of data collection after that, so we'll have 2 years. But I tell you, I'm really excited about that element because it's not just Tennessee, it's the entire Southeast, and I would even say almost the entire eastern United States that is curious about how does timing of hunting season, how does that affect reproductive success? And so we're in a great spot.
I feel a paper coming on.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a huge paper coming. Yeah, and this is just so nice. Again, we've got this study that's already in place. We have birds that are being monitored this year, and transmitters that will stay on those birds that survive. And so we'll just keep rolling it. And so I'm excited.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And hopefully we can get that 1 more year, like you talked about, if there's some funding for that, and even more data. Well, I want to tell folks how to find the season summary. All the dates for the 2020-21 seasons are on our website. If you go to tnwildlife.org, just under the hunting tab, drop down, it says hunting season summary. Right now, you can kind of get an idea of the seasons. We hadn't touched on the fall turkey season, though. Has anything changed for fall that we should touch on?
The only thing that changed with the fall season is Lincoln County was added as one of the counties that's closed. That's closed to fall turkey hunting. The other counties in that southern stretch, Lincoln's one of those 4 that were doing the delayed start for the spring season, and the other ones had already closed to fall turkey season, and so we added Lincoln, or I say the commission approved that proposal to close it to fall.
Okay. And one thing we haven't really said, it's all bearded birds, right? There's no opportunities for hens or non-bearded.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So bearded hens, I guess, are still legal, but
but
bearded turkey is the way we define legal bird.
Okay. All right. So so if you go to tnwildlife.org under the hunting tab, season summaries, you can see the deer, the unit CWD, elk, black bear, fall turkey, spring turkey, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then below there's a PDF where you can see all that in one spot. Go ahead, Roger.
I was just going to say, on both the PDF and on that page, we didn't get into the specifics of the Mississippi counties and those southern Tennessee counties and their specific season dates. So what you see there is just the general kind of statewide season dates. So, but in the hunting handbook that comes out in August, it will have all of that, even for those unique areas. Yeah,
make sure this is a good way to plan your vacations and get your season, get your year in planning mode. But make sure you check your guide. The 2020-2021 guide will be what you want to reference for some of those bigger changes and things you need to pay attention to, more the nitty-gritty specifics. So it's good to have that out for folks to reference. So, all right. Well, anything else we want to cover today? Roger, have we touched on everything?
I think so. I was trying to remember if there was anything else that we had talked about beforehand.
Well, we're excited about what next season looks like. maybe folks will have some of the same success. Hope they will anyway. And people will be able to still get out there and hunt and fish. And speaking of fishing is hot right now.
Yeah, really.
If you haven't been to our Facebook page or our YouTube page lately, we've got a lot of hunting 101 or fishing 101s, I'm sorry, and tackle tips. And we went catfish jugging and showing folks how to do that. Have you ever done that, Roger?
Never have done that.
We'll have to get you out there next time. It was pretty fun. It was my first trip doing that, and we got some pretty good video and show you step by step how to do that, which was pretty cool. And there's more tackle tips coming out soon, how to tie up different rigs and your Palomar knot and your improved clinch and things like that are out there already. And we just shot. We'll leak a little bit.
All
here.
right, a little preview here.
We shot a ledge fishing episode that'll be coming out soon, so you can learn how to chase bass on the ledges.
Okay.
And we've got a great guide on Old Hickory Guide Service. Ian Huey's been helping us out with that. So
yeah.
He does great, and he's been doing a lot of tips for us. And
I learned a lot just riding along with him and looking at his equipment there. He was very helpful.
Yeah, it's amazing the technology that they use these days to find fish. And is there a side scan or a sonar thing to find turkeys?
I wish. Yeah.
Maybe we could tie one of those to our backpack or something, and it would find turkey for us.
It'd make inventory and counting them a lot easier maybe for us too.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot going on at the agency. Even though we've kind of been tied up at home and trying to stay away and keep our distance, social distancing and all that, we've been able to continue to work and provide for the sportsmen and women of Tennessee.
I've even heard that we might even have a road trip or two scheduled for future WildCasts coming up here before too long.
Yeah, we're going to try to get on the road and do some shows, and before you know it, we'll have some more shows on the raffle packages that are coming out for the conservation raffle, so we'll highlight some of those too. But
we'll be doing the public meetings too for fish coming up this summer, so stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. So, all right. Well, Roger, thank you, as always.
Well, thank you for letting me come on again.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
We're glad to have you in Tennessee and appreciate everything you do for the agency and all the hard work y'all put in up there. So,
well, thanks.
Good job. Don, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, this is Tennessee WildCast. We're glad y'all are tuning in, and we appreciate y'all doing that. Keep listening, keep watching, keep coming back, and remember tnwildlife.org. All the information you need for outdoors in Tennessee. So we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.